And here is that breaking news. Teachers are one step closer to a strike at the LA Unified School District.
Mediation failed to reach a new contract tonight, and that could put more than 500,000 LA students out of the classroom.
And CBS 2's Christy Fajardo joins us live from the newsroom with more. Christy.
Yeah, Pat and Jeff, today both sides met with a state mediator for the third time to iron out their contractual differences. They're at odds over salary and class size reduction, but today's negotiations once again ended in a stalemate. And after the session, LAUSD filed an unfair labor practice charge against the United Teachers LA Union. The district says the union refuses to negotiate in good faith. The LAUSD attorney said in a statement, quote, "By UTLA's own admission, the only reason the union participated in mediation was to ensure that it could move quickly to a strike." The teachers say not true. It's the district failing to negotiate in good faith. Since mediation ended without a resolution, the two sides now head into a so-called fact-finding period where an independent third party will review the arguments on both sides and then recommend a potential solution. If they can't agree after the fact-finding period, the union could call for a strike, which teachers have already authorized. I'm Christy Fajardo. Back to you in the studio.
All right, thanks, Christy. Rising gas prices got you frustrated. You're not alone.
Yeah, drivers everywhere are feeling the pinch of the pain at the pump.
And CBS 2 Inland Empire reporter Tina Patel is live in Eastvale, where she spoke with drivers about these sky-high prices. Tina?
Yeah, a lot of us are paying more, but according to the AAA, the average price for a gallon of leaded here in Southern California is now $3.88. That's the highest it's been in more than 3 years. Drivers around Southern California have noticed prices at the pump keep going up.
They're way too high, too high.
Around $4 a gallon in many places. Why so much?
That's my question to other people, but it is what it is, and we need gas to go to work places, so here I am putting gas.
The gas tax in California is part of the reason we have some of the highest prices in the country.
The taxes, I know, is more expensive, but I just think that they know that we need gas to make it, so what you gonna do, not get gas?
Experts at AAA know that's not possible. They say the recent spike of 20 cents in the last 2 weeks is due to refinery issues up and down the West Coast.
It's a temporary blip, but we may continue to see some high prices because of that supply disruption.
But relief could be coming soon. In November, stations will switch to a winter blend of gas, which is usually about 12 cents cheaper to produce. In the meantime, they suggest drivers look around for the best deals. We found drivers going out of their way to take advantage of cheaper prices at Costco. They also told us they're driving more fuel-efficient cars.
SUV, I don't think so. I'll stick to my Honda.
But if prices don't level off soon,
We're gonna have people start riding bikes in a minute.
would you go that far?
Yep. I'm just playing. I'll start riding a bird or something.
Now, a lot of drivers know that there's a measure on the ballot next month to repeal that gas tax. We'll see what voters will say if the gas prices are still this high on Election Day. That's the latest in Eastvale. Tina Patel, CBS 2 News.
Developing news in the Inland Empire right now, where firefighters are trying to get the upper hand on a brush fire near Cal State San Bernardino. North Park fire broke out around 2 o'clock this afternoon near West North Park Boulevard and North Mountain Drive. We're told it's burned 50 acres so far, zero containment. More than 150 firefighters working on the ground with help from 2 choppers and 3 air tankers. We're told 2 people have been detained in connection with that fire.
Now to the weather. Warmer today, cooler for the weekend. A live look at downtown LA. We could also see a few light showers. And CBS 2's Garth Kemp is here with our first forecast. Garth.
Yeah, well, hopefully they'll get a little bit of rain out towards where they're firing. The fire's going on off to the east. That's what it looks like, at least through tonight, through tomorrow morning. Humidity will come up. That will help them. But then we start to shift and we go offshore. So fire weather watches are into effect. They'll probably flip over and become red flag warnings over the next couple of days. 70 degrees right now. Downtown, it was another beautiful day. We did bring the temperatures up, though. 86 out towards San Bernardino. Mid-70s on average for the most part. You'll see like a 79 out towards Van Nuys. Mid-70s up in the Lancaster. By LAX and South Bay, 68. Same for Oxnard. And for our friends in Orange County, you're averaging right at around 72. So things are about to change. We'll show you your entire weekend forecast coming up in just a little bit. Back to you, Tim.
All right, see you in a bit. The survivalist arrested in a string of burglaries in Malibu still hasn't been charged. He's the suspect who might be tied to the shooting death of a father at a campground. CBS 2's Dave Lopez explains why he could be held longer while detectives work the case.
The rifle that Anthony Rauda had when he was arrested by sheriff deputies in the hills above Malibu Creek State Park is being tested for ballistics. According to sources, some of those tests have been completed, but we are also told that, quote, more is yet to be done. The biggest question to be answered, does the bullet that killed Tristan Baudet, who was camping last June with his 2 daughters by his side when he was shot in the head from long range, did the bullet that killed him come from the same rifle that was with Rauda when he was arrested? There have been other shootings in and around Malibu Creek, non-fatal. And we are told that the lab is testing bullets from 2 of those shootings that damaged cars. The bullets are damaged, but tests are being conducted to see if those bullets also came from the rifle that was being carried by Rauda when he was arrested. Detectives still insist on hiding Rauda's face to protect the case, they said. He has not been charged with anything yet, but is being held with no bail in Men's Central Jail. He was transferred there this morning at 10 o'clock. Rauda has an extensive criminal record that dates back 13 years. He was also on probation, and part of that probation said he could not carry a weapon. When he was arrested, he had a rifle. That's why he's being held on no bail. He was supposed to make an appearance in front of a judge today about that probation violation, but I was told he did not get medical clearance in time, something that's mandated for all inmates. So that court appearance was delayed until sometime next week. And the fact that he's on a no bail hold has given investigators in this case a very big break. By law, once a person is arrested, you have 72 hours to either file charges or release that person. Because of the probation violation, that time frame is eliminated. From downtown Los Angeles, Dave Lopez, CBS 2 News.
Dave, thank you. Now, new information tonight about the human remains found at an Antelope Valley home. The sheriff and the coroner confirmed that they found the remains of 3 people. Neighbors in Little Rock questioned whether those remains could be 3 friends who went missing from the community last January. Police say their cell phones turned off, belongings left behind, and there is a good likelihood that they had been murdered. The sheriff's department has not revealed a connection.
A Simi Valley crossing guard was rushed to the hospital after he was struck by a driver. 57-year-old Robert Bellinger was helping a young woman cross the street this morning near Madera Elementary School when he saw an oncoming car. He pushed the woman out of the way but got struck. Bystanders say they heard a loud noise and a scream.
It took us 20 seconds to get down here, and then I realized it was a person, and I realized it was Bob.
Police say the driver of the SUV stayed at the scene the whole time, and there's no indication he was impaired at the time of the crash.
A Santa Monica teacher's description of a senior White House advisor when he was in 3rd grade got her into some trouble. As CBS 2's Jasmine Veal reports tonight, the teacher said Stephen Miller was a loner who ate glue.
This is the elementary school where longtime Santa Monica teacher Nikki Fisk taught senior presidential advisor Stephen Miller in the 3rd grade. In an interview with The Hollywood Reporter Wednesday, she talked about her former students saying things like, "Do you remember that character in Peanuts, the one called Pigpen, with the dust cloud and crumbs flying all around him? That was Stephen Miller at 8. And he would pour the glue on his arm, let it dry, peel it off, and then eat it." The Santa Monica Malibu Unified School District says it has placed Fisk on paid leave while it determines if any student privacy laws or policies were violated.
I don't know how that happened.
At her home today, her husband spoke to us briefly, saying he does not know why she made those comments.
She's a dedicated teacher, and she's just waiting to get back in the classroom.
Miller is an influential advisor and the driving force behind Mr. Trump's hardline immigration policies, including the border wall, separating families, and the travel ban aimed at predominantly Muslim countries. Last month, the Santa Monica rabbi called out Miller in his sermon, saying his zero-tolerance policy at the border is cruel and incompatible with their religious beliefs.
To Stephen Miller.
Miller's family belonged to the synagogue for a short time. Back at the school, parents seem to agree teachers should never talk like that about a child. The district sent them emails telling them why a substitute teacher will be in her classroom.
When it comes to giving criticism of our children,
I don't know, crosses the line.
I get it because people are frustrated with the sentiment about Trump, so I get her interest in telling the story that he was a loner and he remained this kind of oddball, but I don't know. I side with the district.
In that article, Fisk says that her student review was later erased that same year by the school principal. The district tells me so far they've taken non-disciplinary action, and they have no idea when this review will be complete. Here in Santa Monica, Jasmine Veal, CBS 2 News.
Hundreds of students and parents are protesting the Westside Subway expansion slated to run beneath their school. The crowd gathered this morning at Will Rogers Memorial Park. The subway route is the second of 3 extensions planned to connect the route between Koreatown and West LA. Protesters from the Beverly Hills School District want the route changed or federal funding withdrawn. They say the area is littered with oil wells and construction will leak toxic gas into the air.
Why would you put a subway heavy rail under instructional buildings through heavy fields of methane gas and hydrogen sulfides?
Safety is our critical concern. We have built safe projects throughout Los Angeles County. Beverly Hills is no exception.
Metro says an environmental study found no evidence emissions from tunneling would exceed safe air quality limits. Concern for wildlife along the coast. Several seagulls hurt after being shot with darts.
Also ahead, more than just a great place for pictures. The new permanent selfie museum is now open, and we'll take you inside for a look.
I think Tom was shocked. He thought he won the lotto. Coming up, the weather. It's on the way.
Maybe you thought it was a selfie.
Nice bailout. Garth?
Maybe he was doing the selfie.